Hello, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to episode 6 of High End Rollers TV. I am so excited about our special guest, Tony L. Brown. I'm excited because he literally lives about 40 minutes away from me. And as you know, I'm from Birmingham, West Midlands in the UK. So we need to give a shout out to all of our West Midlands listeners. And as I said, we're here and we're going to be talking to Tony. And today's episode is all about how to run your business without being there. Imagine that. Can you do that? Tony says you can. So let me tell you all about Tony, okay? So Tony Brown is known as the systems guy, okay? He's a coach, author, speaker, and trainer. And Tony's goal is to help small business entrepreneurs to systemize their workflows, reduce their workload, increase their productivity and profitability. And how does he do that? By helping them to create and implement and refine standard operating procedures. And that's what you do, isn't it, Tony?
That's right, yes. Yeah, it's a great introduction. Thanks, Petra.
So you're welcome. I'm really excited to speak to you because we're going to be talking about systems, productivity, and scalability. Because as entrepreneurs, we leave our 9 to 5, we're in the 9 to 5 rat race and we want to leave it. But then we end up being a slave to our own business. So I know that you're not a slave to your business at all. And you have developed standard procedures, which I'm going to be talking about in the book in a bit. But you've developed standard procedures to operate your business remotely. So please share more about that with us.
Okay, well, before I start, a quick disclaimer. I'm just getting over a bout of the flu. Apparently it's man flu. So I might be clearing my throat and blow my nose during the interview.
That's okay.
But as entrepreneurs, we're still human beings.
Yeah.
We don't suffer from superhero syndrome. So yeah. I mean, it's like you said, you hit the nail on the head. We leave our 9 to 5s with this promise of having all this free and flexible time, being our own bosses, planning our own work schedule, and sipping coca pina underneath a palm tree in the Bahamas. But then what happens is, like you said, we come out of the rat race and end up in what I call the rat trap, which is the mistake a lot of small business entrepreneurs do. They leave their job, they build this business and create a job for themselves, and end up spinning all the wheels, turning all the cogs, and being the main cog in that business is totally dependent on them. And it gets to the point where you basically hit burnout, and oftentimes that is the biggest cause of business failure.
Wow.
So what I learned pretty quickly was that I needed to remove myself from my business. My business couldn't be dependent on me. And I think what we're talking about is it's not nothing unique. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's about classic delegation, having systems and processes in place to equip and empower other people to run your operations on your behalf. So it's been around for centuries. It's been around since businesses have been in place. However, because of this big movement of solopreneurs, the trap is a lot broader. People think they can just jump online, start a business, and they're gonna hit the jackpot, forgetting that there's actually a lot of work involved in running a business, whether it's online or traditional.
Absolutely. I love what you said there, because you said that one of the reasons why businesses fail is because of burnout. You didn't even say because of lack of money. So do you want to share more about that? What exactly is burnout, and how is it that we have, as entrepreneurs, how you build your business to the point of burnout?
Yeah, I think for me, burnout is a result of a potentially successful business being driven by one person. So you think about it, the classic route is you leave your job, you've got this great idea, you start to run it, and you start to see some traction start happening, you start getting some clients, things start growing, and the more things growing, the more plates you as the solopreneur, I say solopreneur, have to spin, and you're responsible for spinning. And what happens is, you take it off one plate, and then you got to go and deal with that one over there. Then you know, you've got all this stuff going on, but you've still got personal life, you've still got family to deal with, you've still got social life. There's other stuff going on. Now, I remember back to when I was working in the corporate world. I had a very busy senior manager job in a local authority, and it was pretty hectic. It was chaotic. I had a lot of responsibility. However, I had a marketing team, comms team, a legal team, an admin team. I had a team of full-time workers, part-time staff that I could delegate work to, but I also had my own responsibilities.
Yeah.
So again, being a family man, you know, having other areas of my life that I was managing and doing that job was hectic. Imagine doing all that and you're responsible.
With 4 children as well. You've got 4 kids, haven't you?
With 4 children, yeah, and we're home educators as well. So it's a busy time.
Wow.
But imagine trying to do all that and you're responsible for the marketing. You're responsible for the, you know, putting together the agreements. You're responsible for everything that functions in your business. You're responsible for. The more successful your business becomes, the busier you're going to become. And it's likely that you're going to start to do things wrong. You're going to start missing certain things. You're not going to cross all the T's and dot all the I's.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's going to impact on your brand. It's going to impact on the customer experience. It's going to impact on a lot of things. And potentially you're going to start dropping balls. Plates are going to start falling off the sticks, etc., using that same analogy of spinning plates. And potentially what will happen is the entrepreneur that's trying to keep it all going will hit a stumbling block, will hit a hurdle, and potentially burn out. And again, that it's unfortunate because it's the success of the business that causes the burnout.
That's really true, yeah.
The quicker you can get other people on board to start helping to spin those plates, the more chance you've got to be successful in your business. So
you've said some really good points there, but because as solopreneurs, we literally do everything. Okay, we're the face of our business, and we also, you know, we do the email marketing, we do the videos, we do the editing, we become graphic designers, we become web designers, we do all of these things. But what I've noticed with a lot of entrepreneurs as well is that they think that no one can do it better than them. But how do you get around that?
Yeah, wake up and smell the coffee. That's what I say. It's a reality check. I had to have it myself. You know, I'm very shrewd in terms of my brands, and you know, if someone's going out and representing underneath my banner, I expect a certain standard. I expect a certain level of delivery. I want to be known for delivering high quality in whatever it is I do.
Yeah,
and I've always had that, you know, that attitude and that perspective. The problem is with a lot of solopreneurs is they believe they've got the secret sauce and only they can do what they can do.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it's true. Yes, we have. You know, you bring something very unique to your brand. The way you do what you do makes your clients attracted to you. The way you put yourself across, the way that you deliver, you know, put your courses together, whatever it is you do, everyone brings something very unique to their brand. That does not mean that only you can do it, because what happens is you become the bottleneck, you become the barrier to scaling that business and to going beyond yourself.
Yeah.
Some people are very happy just being a solopreneur, and if that's the case, I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying, you know, it's wrong, but I'm saying if you want to grow and scale your business and have a business that runs, whether you're there or not, you've got to quickly get over yourself and share your secret sauce with other people. So, you know, I hear it from a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, I don't, that won't work for me. I do everything in my business. And I'm like, well, that's the problem. You know, your business is not going to grow beyond yourself. You haven't got a business. You're a solo, you're a freelancer.
That's really true. And I'll tell you something as well. People think, oh my God, I can't afford to have someone else do something else in my business. I can't afford to outsource. But something that I've noticed in my business, the moment that I began to outsource different aspects of my business, I mean, I have 2 virtual assistants, and I also have a Facebook advertising strategist who runs all of my Facebook ads for me. And the moment that I hired my team, the more money I actually started to make. And I want to lead on there by just introducing your book there. It's called Standard Procedure. Okay. And it's how to systemize your business to reduce your workload and increase productivity and become more profitable. Because you have, in this book, you actually share how to be more productive by reducing your work and actually making more of a profit.
That's
That
right.
kind of seems really, really unreal.
Yeah, it's very true. It can be done. I've done it. And, for me, what the biggest takeaway for me, and one of the main reasons I wrote that book, is because of the experience I had. I went from being an employee, a very busy employee in a good job, to taking voluntary redundancy, starting a business, or thinking I was starting a business, but really I was a freelance consultant. I was going into schools. So just for those that don't know, my business, what I'm talking to, yes, I do coaching, consultancy at the moment, and help other business owners to systemize their business. But my core business is I run a youth engagement agency. So my background is in youth and community work. I set up a youth engagement agency where we get contracts from local authorities, housing associations, schools, and we go and deliver a range of youth work interventions for those clients. So we'll support young people in schools, we'll support young people out in the streets, in the parks, and encourage those young people to get involved in positive activities. When I first started, I was doing everything. I was getting the contracts, I was doing the blogging, the podcasting, I was building this personal brand, and also going out and doing the face-to-face delivery. And it got to the point where I was seeing some success. It was going really well. And I had 2 contracts on the table, and I had the opportunity to go and work in 2 schools. And I knew that, yes, I could do it, but this is not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be getting up in the morning, getting in my car, driving to one school in, say, Birmingham, delivering a contract there, getting back in my car, driving across the M5 to a school in Warsaw and delivering a contract there. I thought,
it's not like you want, is it?
Exactly. It's not what I wanted. But because I was a small business growing, I wanted those 2 contracts. So I quickly had to, like I said earlier, get over myself and know that I'm not the only one who can do this, and take on some part-time staff to go and deliver on my behalf. But again, I wanted to ensure that what they deliver is to the expected standard.
Absolutely.
So then I went about putting together standard procedures, so templates, worksheets, workbooks, more or less scripting what they were going to do. Now, obviously, I want them to bring themselves into the picture, and the way they deliver it is unique to them. However, this is the standard expectation. This is how you should deliver this type of work. So that quickly took me out of the loop. I was able to secure those 2 contracts and still deliver the work. And that then enabled me to have more free and flexible time to reinvest in other things. What we chose to do with that time at that point was to go and travel around Jamaica.
Yes, you did.
And I took my family for 8 weeks. We traveled around Jamaica for 8 weeks. My mum and dad was over there. We got to spend a lot of time with them. We really enjoyed it. And at one point, Petra, I was sat on the beach in the grill. If you've ever been to the grill,
I have, yes.
I know why you're smiling then. I was sat on the beach in the grill with a nice little cocktail, and I looked over. My wife was sat next to me with her shades on, sipping a cocktail. My children were in front of me, golden sand, blue sea, and I thought, wow,
that's just amazing.
Look at this. I'm here, and my business is back home, operational. The most I had to do was probably 3 times a week, jump on my iPad, just check everything, check my emails. Everything's running fine, everything's running smooth. And while we were out there, we were actually able to secure 2 new contracts with an existing client, and secure a new client for a coaching business I just started.
That is brilliant.
And to me, that validated that this stuff works.
It works. It absolutely works. And we've actually got a few things in common there, because Tony, me and my husband actually spent a month in Jamaica. But we was in Runaway Bay.
Okay.
And the same thing. I was still receiving inbound inquiries for my business, and I ended up, we was in a hut, in our hotel area, and I actually did consultations whilst on a hammock, and signed up 2 very brand new clients whilst abroad in Jamaica.
That's it.
And that's simply because I've got those systems that enabled me to still bring in leads consistently while I'm away, and also systems where they can actually pay me whilst I'm abroad.
That's it. So you've done the work beforehand, which enabled you to have that free and flexible time.
Absolutely.
During that period. And that's it. I think sometimes for me, the perception previously was it could be difficult. You think about people traveling the world and having these businesses, you think they've got multi-million-dollar businesses, where actually by putting in the hard work at the front end, creating a system, creating a process where you've removed the dependency on you being there to respond to every email, to respond to every client inquiry, and to actually do the face-to-face delivery of your business. Once you can have a system to remove yourself from having to do that, you've put a deposit of time back in your account.
Yes.
How you use that is up to you. So like I said, we chose to travel to Jamaica. This year we haven't traveled to Jamaica, but what I chose to do was write the book. So, you know,
Yes.
I can reinvest that time, you know, wherever I want, and you know, the viewers can do the same thing.
So speaking of your book, Tony, you have written in here something quite controversial. And as you know, if you've been watching my videos and if you follow me on Facebook and on Twitter, you know that I love a good controversy. And you know that I love when entrepreneurs have their own voice. You know, they have their own voice and you stand for something. And you've written something in here which could literally cause someone to think, oh my God, what am I doing? I need to change the way I do my business. So let me just read a little paragraph out of here, Tony.
Okay, go for it.
And I want you to really just tell us all about it.
Okay.
So this is what Tony says in chapter 6, okay? Chapter 6.
Okay, go for it.
You see my green highlight there, okay?
Okay.
So in chapter 6, Tony says, any entrepreneur who claims to have a business, but that business is not built on a series of standard procedures which allows someone else to pick up and continue the work, does not really have a business. What does that mean, Tony?
Okay. It kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's a bit of a wake up call, which I had to go through myself, and that's why I can speak so boldly, because it's personal experience that I've had. If you stop working today, will your business continue to run?
Wow.
If you let's say, you know, a family member fell sick. Let's say you needed to look after a child. Let's say if suddenly something happened to you health-wise. If you were to stop working, would your business continue to run? If the answer is no, you're a freelancer. You don't have a business. You haven't got a series of standard operating procedures. And when I talk about standard operating procedures, I'm not talking about a formal document. I'm not talking about, you know, a series of dry sort of formal, a big white folder with standard operating procedure across it. It doesn't have to be that formal. What I'm saying is, if your business doesn't continue to run without you being there, you're a freelancer, because you're trading time for money.
Absolutely.
So, and I think for a lot of small business entrepreneurs, I felt like I had to be quite blunt when sharing that, because I speak to a lot of small business entrepreneurs, and you know, some of them are good friends of mine. Some of them, you know, I'll meet at networking events, and they'll say, I've got a business, and I'll say, what do you do? And they'll start telling me what they do, and I'm saying, okay, you're a freelancer then? You know, oh, I've got a graphic design business. What do you do? Oh, you know, I'll set up a shop on Fiverr, and I do graphic design services. Okay, so you're a freelance graphic designer then? You know, even down to like most recently, I went to go and visit a potential client over not too far from where I am, and she's built a pretty successful salon. However, her frustration is, if she leaves the salon, things don't run as she would like them to run, and a lot of the clients, she's still doing the beauty treatments and everything. And I'm saying, you need to take yourself out of your business, because at the moment, if you don't turn up and open that shutter and turn that key and to put the lights on, your business will stop running. It needs to be able to run as though you're here when you're not here. And like I said, you know, I had to put that across, and I made a conscious effort to put that across quite boldly throughout the book, just to help those who are caught in that trap to feel that challenge. I wanted to challenge them and say, look beyond yourself. Yes, you've got a secret sauce. Yes, only you can do what you can do. Yes, you've got the magic touch. However, build something that is bigger than you. Build something that will continue to run and can continue to run, whether you're there or not. So that's a challenge I pose to all small business entrepreneurs and so-called solopreneurs.
So can you give us then 5 ways that we can actually systemize our business?
5 ways, okay.
Can I just ask something actually?
Yeah, go for it.
Because you said something in your book which I think is phenomenal. You said train your clients not to see you. How on
Yeah.
earth do we do that?
Okay, I mean, obviously it depends on the type of business you've got. So let's say, in our perspective, then we're a personal brand. You're the face of your business. There's so many tools out there. I mean, look at us. We're having a conversation via the web. We're video conferencing. However, we're having a live face-to-face conversation. Now, to me, if I wanted to onboard a client and take on a new client, I want to get them used to this type of relationship, rather than me getting in my car, driving across to Birmingham, us going to a studio, setting up in the studio and delivering this face to face. How much work would that have taken? That would have taken a lot of setting up, a lot of scheduling. We probably couldn't have done it today.
True.
Having this conversation. If you can put things in place that cause your clients to see that as the norm, this is normal. We recruit all our staff via Skype. We have Skype interviews with our staff. We have our weekly team catch-ups on Google Hangouts. We have set up and established a virtual organization. We don't pay for office space. We rent office space or meeting rooms when we need them. We're still able to run our business in a very seamless way. So we have trained not only our clients but our staff, and they're used to not seeing us physically. They see us weekly like this. We use things such as, like I said, Skype, Google Hangout. We use Slack, even down to WhatsApp. We've got a WhatsApp group for our staff where messages need to be deployed. We can send messages across those WhatsApp groups. So once you've established a system and your clients are used to seeing and operating in that system, whether you're in Jamaica, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in your loft in your house, as long as the business is operational and your clients are being communicated with, it becomes the norm, and business can run.
Yeah,
so that's the that approach of training them not to see you on a regular basis.
And how I use that in my business as well, for instance, is when I onboard a client, because most of the people that are actually going to be watching this show are consultants, they're coaches, health coaches, life coaches. And one thing that they say to me a lot is that they say that they don't have any client boundaries. So their clients will send them Facebook messages on a regular basis, always asking for help on the spot there and then. They have other people asking them questions, on Facebook messaging, WhatsApp, and all of these things. And that's something that I personally don't do. So when I'm onboarding a client, I'll let them know exactly, okay, this is how we're going to communicate. I don't have any of my communications on Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or anything like that. We use an online tool called Asana or Basecamp. And that way, all of our conversations are logged. My clients know that they can expect to hear from me within 24 hours. If it's on a weekend, it's 48 hours, okay? So this is really important as well, to have client boundaries, so you're not always thinking that you have to be on your client's beck and call all the time. That's not how you run a business either, is it?
Yeah, that's right. And what you've created there is a system. It's a simple system. They know this is how Petra does business. This is how I communicate effectively with Petra. They know that's the system. Without that, it would just be chaotic. Like you said, you'd have Facebook messages pinging off. You'd have, people sending me emails and then saying, well, how come you never responded to my email? So just by putting those simple things in place, it helps you to manage your time effectively. Your clients know where they stand, and they know the expectation there. So you've created a standard procedure. This is how I do things around here.
It is.
Is that?
I mean, obviously, you've heard us say standard procedure.
Yeah.
Okay. So much today. You also talk about reducing business functions that are dependent on you. How do we do that?
Yeah. I mean, the approach I take with my clients. So when I'm going and consulting with a client who wants to go through the process of creating a standard procedures, the first thing I do with them is we have a look at the core functions in their business. So there's a tool that I like to use called the Business Model Canvas. I don't know if you're aware of it.
I've not heard of that.
The Business Model Generation. There you go. You can take a screenshot of that. Business Model Generation. It's a great book, great resource. And in there, there's a tool called the Business Model Canvas, which is almost like a visual business plan. I don't know if you can see that. It's very simple. It's like 9 building blocks which outline the core functions within your business. One of those building blocks is focused on the key activities. What are the things you need to do in your business to make your business work?
Yeah.
That's what I usually use as our starting points. You've got all these things going on. What are the core things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis, week-by-week basis to make your business work? And we'll spend some time thrashing it out. And oftentimes they're surprised at how much they're actually doing. They've got to do this, all these things. And I like to use Post-it notes. We get them all out on Post-it notes all over the wall so they can see them and they're like, wow, is this what I'm doing? And then what we do is go through them and identify those core ones, those things that if we don't do this, the business is going to shut down.
Yeah.
Once we've identified those, I ask them to look at the ones that are dependent on you doing it. If you don't do this, it's not going to happen at the moment. These functions are dependent on you. Oftentimes, if it's a solopreneur, it's usually all of them. So then what we do is drill down on the ones that will give them the biggest return on investment, not in money, in time.
Okay.
If we could delegate or outsource this function here, it would give you the biggest return on investment in time. Oftentimes when you talk about ROI, we focus on money. What's going to give you the biggest return on investment in money? In this case, it's time, because time is what we're looking to get back. Once you've identified that, it's a case of drilling down into that task and listing out all the steps involved, literally just from top to bottom, from start to finish. What are all the things, what are all the steps involved in this process to complete this task from start to finish? Usually when we're doing that, they'll put down the headline tasks or the headline steps. So, for example, let's say, I don't know, editing a podcast. Or they've got a podcast to promote their business. So I'll record the podcast. I then edit it. I then post it to my media host. Then I create the web page for it. Then I create the show notes. Then I get it transcribed. There's all these steps involved.
Wow.
Which is great. But what I'm saying is, in between each of those core tasks, there's little things that you do that you take for granted. There's little things that you would say is your secret sauce. The way you edit your podcast is special. The way you put your videos or post your videos is special, and it's important. The way I do this, it's what makes my clients or my listeners or my viewers, it's what makes them love it. You've got to try to capture those small steps, those hidden steps, and add those into the process, so that if you was to outsource it to someone, they would do it as though you've done it yourself.
Wow.
So what I usually say is list it all out, try to fill in those gaps, and then delegate it to someone who's never done it before. It's very likely they will call you back or they'll message you to say, hi Petra, you've asked me to do this task. I've done step 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm at point 7 now. I'm not quite sure what you mean there. You need to then add a bit more detail to that process, and just keep doing it until they can run it, send you a final product that you're totally happy with, as though you've done it yourself. Once you can do that, you've done that task. You've documented that task thoroughly, and you can outsource it to anyone. You'll never have to do that again. It might take you 3 hours. It might take you 3 weeks. It might take you 3 months. But once you've done it and you've got it down, you've documented it, it's done. You'll never have to do that again. That's now allotted that amount of time back in your account for you to reinvest in what I encourage my clients to do. Reinvest it back in doing more, creating more standard procedures. Because every standard procedure you create is going to put an allotment of time back in your account, and before you know it, you just sit back and just oversee the operation.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also talk about automation as well, don't you? Yeah.
I mean, it's not kind of sort of my big thing, but it's an important part of, especially with all the tools we've got nowadays. It's an important part of the process, and it's something that we should get used to. It's something that we should be making best use of. So if you can automate a task, it saves you having to, number one, hire someone else to do it, or for you to do it yourself. If it's a quick, simple bit of software you can use, so there's tools such as Zapier, Zapier.com. There's also IFTT, if this then that. There's a number of tools out there that people can use that you can quickly automate little tasks. So, for example, let's have a think. Client scheduling, for example. So many tools out there. Acuity, Calendly, Schedule Once. There's a number of tools that you can use where you don't have to go back and forth with the client or anyone about booking an appointment. You send a link. They get, a series of questions in that link. They'll the process. You can add documentation to there, and it's done. Next thing you know, you look in your calendar, and there's an appointment there. They've got all the detail they need. You've got what you need. It's done. You don't need to think about it.
Absolutely. And also as well, because people often do get a bit worried, a bit scared or intimidated by setting up an automated system. But, just like how Tony was talking about outsourcing, about finding someone else who can do that for you, that's exactly what you can do. So, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I actually have 2 VAs. So I have one person, that's Kerry, and what she does, she literally creates all of everything to do with automation and any tech issues that I might have in terms of my membership sites. She's the one that sets it all up for me. So she's the one that actually puts the automations systems together for me as well. So, but the good thing about this is that the book goes through in detail about how to start to put these procedures into your business.
Yeah. And that was a key thing for me. I've got a lot of books. I've got a big library, but I'm not a huge reader. I prefer audio books. If I do buy a book, it's because the audio book has really hit me, and I thought I need to get that in the collection. Or it's more of a resource. So like I pointed to the Business Model Generation, it's more of a resource book. I wanted to create a book that, from the offset, was challenging, but also you can implement it.
Yes.
I believe, within those first 3 chapters, even if you only read the first 3 chapters, you can take something from that and implement it in your business and see results. And that's kind of the guarantee I wanted to give to every reader. Because it's important, we're already time poor as business owners, as human beings. We're already time poor. There's always something to do. When you think you've dealt with that, then I don't know, if you've got a family, you got to go and deal with the children. Then you need to support your wife over here. Then your parents might call. Then there's something to deal with over. There's always something to do, and I don't think anyone can hold up their hand and say, I've got more than enough time to do everything I need to do in my business and my personal life.
It's all about time freedom. So can you give us 2 more tips on how we can systemize our business? So you've mentioned outsourcing, automation, and also training your clients not to see you, which is, I think, my favorite one, actually.
Yeah.
You've got 2 more tips for us.
Again, one of the first things I always encourage my clients to do is to get yourself a virtual assistant. Like you said, it can be the game changer.
Yes.
The biggest response, which you've mentioned earlier, is someone would say, I can't afford to take on a virtual assistant. I always push back, and I would say, how much do you value your time? How much is an hour of your time worth? Now, for me, if you want to get me out of my house and to come and do some face-to-face work with you, you're going to have to pay for that time. My time is valuable. If I'm going to pay someone, let's say, for example, less than $10 an hour, that's going to give me an hour back. I'm happy to pay for that. I'm happy to pay up to a certain amount for a certain task. Let's say if it's video editing, if it's podcast editing, like I said, if it's someone who's going to handle my Facebook campaign, I'm happy to pay for that because I know that my time is valuable. And, in the past, I've made the mistake of stopping up till 4 o'clock in the morning and trying to get this image on my WordPress site to go over there. Why won't this image go over there, and why won't that text go up there? And, I'm not a WordPress developer. And yes, I learned some skills, but I paid the price for it. I stopped up till 4 o'clock in the morning, probably messed up my whole site. And yes, I maybe learned a bit about coding. However, if I would have just paid someone,
it would have been done.
$50, $60, even $100, it's done. It's done. It's finished, and I'm going to worry about it. So I always encourage people, just take on someone, even if it's only 5 hours a week, even if it's only to handle your social media, to post, or to find content that you can post on your social media.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing some client outreach and going on LinkedIn and finding people who suit your ideal client's profile, even if it's, you know, doing some basic graphic design for your Instagram campaign, just get used to having someone on board that you can delegate work to, because that will get you used to managing. A lot of people haven't had the experience of being in management before, you know, how to delegate effectively, how to manage that task when it's been delegated, how to you know, give clear instruction on what the expectations are.
Yeah,
get used to doing that, because that's what being a business owner is. You're the CEO of your operation.
that's right.
And you know, you've got to rightfully take that place and become the CEO of your operation. Richard Branson ain't driving no trains or flying no planes. You know, Mark Zuckerberg, I'm sure, as tempted as he is, he's not doing any coding anymore.
Yeah,
He's overseeing the operation.
that's right.
And in your small business, you are the CEO of the operation. Get yourself out of
Your business.
You know, yeah, get yourself out of it.
Absolutely. And one last one for us.
One more. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. So, like I mentioned there, management skills. You know, managing people is a huge part, if not a huge component of having a successful business. Because we're used to being solopreneurs, we only have to manage ourselves. You know, learn to manage people effectively. Learn how to, you know, the basic principles of leadership skills, of management, of delegation. You know, invest in a coach, in books, in an online course. To give you those core basic skills. You know, read a book by John Maxwell. There's so many things out there to help you to be a better people person. You know, it's about supporting people and empowering people to make your business become what it needs to be.
Yes, yeah, and I love that you said that. And it is about empowering people. You know, you know, you can think of yourself as an employer as well. You know, you're helping someone else to build their business, because it's most likely that the people that you hire, they're also freelancers and they want to build a business as well. So think of it that way, and you know, never think that you haven't got the money to do that, because once you've freed up your time, you know, you can then focus on what your area of expertise is. I mean, if you look at my Instagram, I know that many of you have found me on Instagram. You know, I don't do those images on Instagram. I don't do that. You know, that's not something what I do. I'm not an expert in you know, in Instagram, but what I've done is I've hired someone who is an expert in Instagram, who is able to generate more leads, find the certain hashtags, so that what I can do, what I love to do, you know, which is here, you know, having the interviews and, you know, being connected to you, so that you can understand what it is that we're doing here, and that's really, really important.
Yeah, and I think that's the traits of, you know, a great business owner, a great entrepreneur. It's finding other people and putting them in a position where they can excel in their area of expertise. Building a team. You know, you want to build a team of great people who are all bought in and subscribed to your brand, you know, and they're passionate about, you know, doing their area of expertise under your brand. You know, if someone is a great graphic designer, you want them on your team to help drive and grow your brand. If someone's a great web developer, you want them on their team, and you want to support them and make them feel like, you know, they're in the right place, they're operating at their full capacity, they enjoy it, they're happy, and your business will thrive. You know, you'll grow a world-class brand.
Thank you so much, Tony. I am so excited about finishing your book. I think I'm on about page 91. So here it is. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a link at the bottom, okay, so you can grab this book. It's really, really, it's this book for me, when I read up to page 91, it was such an eye-opener in the terms of how, as entrepreneurs, we are to manage our businesses. You know, so it's really, really key. Grab this book, the link's below. Okay. So Tony, are you ready to roll?
I am, yes. Let's do it.
Good.
Before we roll, can I just say, I have got a copy for one viewer that we can give away.
Oh,
We'll do a little competition. We'll think about how we can do it, but I've got an idea. So we
that
can
is so. Do you see why you need to subscribe to this channel? Do you see why? I just have the best guest giveaways.
Yeah. So one viewer is going to get a free copy. I'll sign it and send it out to them. So while we're doing the high rollers quick fire round, we'll think of a way.
We'll think of a way.
Okay, let's do it then.
Brilliant. So, as you know, this is the section where I'm going to be asking you quick questions. Just give me some quick fire answers, whatever pops into your mind the first thing. So the first one is, what's your favorite book? And I think I know what it is, actually.
The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yeah. That was actually the first ever business book that I've written, and it completely changed. This is going to sound really weird, but it completely changed my marriage.
Really?
Yes, it really. I'll tell you more about that on another video. Yes, okay.
Yeah, so the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which I'm actually, as we're recording this, I don't know when it's going to go out, but I'm actually going to be speaking to Michael Gerber this evening. So I'm going to be talking to him and interviewing him tonight. So I'm excited about that.
Brilliant. We're gonna put a link to your podcast below. Okay, so we can subscribe. Brilliant. Excellent. So what's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote, it's probably taken from that book, and we've mentioned it a few times today. It's work on your business, not in your business.
Yeah.
Again, it's well known. It's bantered about by a lot of people. It actually comes from that book, the E-Myth. For me, it was a game changer. Just that simple mindset shift. Take yourself out of your business. Have a CEO mentality, not an employee mentality. So work on your business, not in your business.
What's the one thing in your business that you can't do without?
The internet.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. I think that's all of us, isn't it?
The
really?
Internet. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. A lot of the functions are internet dependent.
Yeah,
it's a remote business, so if that went down, we'd struggle.
What's your weakness as an entrepreneur?
Focus and discipline.
Ooh, that's very honest, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's why I'm systems dependent, because I understand. I'm very self-aware. I know that I'm quite chaotic. I know that I can be quite reactive. I know that I want to do everything, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So if I see something over there, I want to get involved in that, and I want to do that, and I want to have a go at that. I like new things. I get very excited about new things. So I struggle oftentimes with focus and with discipline to see things through.
Wow.
So I've had to put systems in place to ensure that I'm thorough in those areas.
Standard procedures.
That's it.
So what is your greatest strength then as an entrepreneur?
People skills. My track record shows that I'm a great manager of people. I went from being a volunteer to becoming a part-time worker, to becoming a full-time worker, a centre manager, project manager, and then ended up managing the entire youth service across local authority in a series of about 7 years. And it's all because I was able to influence people to work effectively, to feel like they're on board, to give their all to certain projects. So I think I've got a knack of leading people and supporting people. Brilliant.
And where can we find you? Where can we find you online?
Online, if you go to tonylbrown.com, everything's there. So the blog, the podcast, a bit about me. I've got a speaker page on there, and there's actually a link on there where you can find out more about the book. If you want to go directly, you could go to tonylbrown.com/book.
Yep, I'll put the link below.
Yeah, and you can also get the first 3 chapters of the book for free. Just sign up to the newsletter and you can get the first 3 chapters for free there.
And your podcast as well, which is Business Systems Explored.
That's right, yeah. I've got 2 podcasts. Obviously, I've got a podcast on tonylbrown.com, which is called Standard Procedure. But for the past few months, I've kind of taken a break from that. Obviously, written the book. but been focused behind the scenes on creating a brand new podcast with a co-host called Vinay Patanka, who's the CEO of Process Street, which is a tool you should check out if you are interested in developing your own standard operating procedures.
I'll put the link below.
Nice one. And we've created what I believe is going to be a game-changing podcast. We're talking to the top CEOs, marketers, and entrepreneurs of some pretty successful businesses. Also, podcasters, content marketers, etc. And we're talking to them about the systems they use. So like I said, it's called Business Systems Explored. We're not doing the whole tell us about your background, tell us where you started. We want to know what's your system for this.
Wow.
Do a deep dive into specific systems. So we've spoken to people like Chris Ducker, John Nastor from Hack the Entrepreneur, who's got he's got almost 2 million downloads on his podcast. This evening we're speaking to Michael E. Gerber, author of The E-Myth. We've spoken to Kate Erickson from Entrepreneur on Fire, Chris Savage from Wistia and the video marketing platform. So a lot of big players in the game. We've spoken to them. We've got 30 episodes recorded.
Wow.
So we're just going to be going through the process now of trickling them out over the next few weeks, few months. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that is very exciting. So all you need to do is subscribe to the podcast. So
That's right, yeah.
Thank you so much, Tony Brown.
You're welcome, Petra Foster.
Systems guy, for joining me on episode 6. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to this channel. We've got giveaways on this channel. So be sure to subscribe and share it across your networks to other entrepreneurs who that need to start to enroll high-end clients into their business. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.